Arfield, what a bully! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
He's got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes, and Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly, finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell, saved by the keeper.
Burnley won it to the end. That is magnificent. They deserve that.
On it by Paul Teller, off for a hat-trick.
He's got it. Hat-trick for Nathan Teller. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day.
And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Top shot.
Oh, what a goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class. Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello and welcome along to the latest instalment of the Turfcast podcast pre-game show with me, Joe Redmond, head of what is not a dead rubber as such, because Burnley still have quite a lot to hopefully try and achieve. But at the end of the day, if we don't win the league title, I'm not sure how many Clarets are going to be losing sleep over it. I'm not for 1 second going to sit here and pretend I don't want to win the league. Of course I do. It'd be nice to see us do it. You know, get a hat trick of league titles in the second tier, if you will, because obviously we won it the last 2 times we're in the division. So it would be nice to go and get it a third time. I think Nathan said on the full-time show for the Sheffield United match that no team has won it 3 times in a row. And it would also be good to get to 100 points. To win this game against QPR, and we win on the final day of the season against Millwall. Going to be tough to win both of them, especially the Millwall game, because obviously they're still fighting for the playoffs, but they might lose this weekend and then they don't have a chance of the playoffs. Who knows? But if we get wins in both of them games, we'll be the first team in the history of the Championship to have 2 separate 100-point seasons, I think it is, or definitely 2 in a row, because obviously we got 101, was it, last time under Company? And to say that we could end up this season with 1 point less than that Company team, when everyone was waxing lyrical about us that year, and everyone's been saying how tedious and how boring we are this year, we'll just go to show how good we've actually been this year. But as usual, on the pre-game show, it's time to chat to a fan of the opposition, and I'm pleased to introduce Ben from the W12 podcast. How you doing, mate?
Yes, very well. Yeah, very well. How are you?
Yeah. Good, mate. After the weekend, as you can imagine, feeling a little bit happier about football and the way things. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I've been saying for a while now, I think we'll finish second. But when we went 1-0 down against Watford, I won't say I lost my head, but I was thinking like, oh, well, this player's going to leave, that player's going to leave. What we're going to do next season, it's going to be really difficult to with Leicester coming down, with Southampton coming down. So obviously we've turned that round, and then obviously we've got a big win against Sheffield United. So yeah, I'm just buzzing to be back in the big time, mate.
Yeah, I mean, your defensive record is incredible. Like, I was looking at it the other day, I was like, it's outrageous. You're not even conceded 2 goals in a single game, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. In the league.
It's outrageous, mate. Honestly, like, yeah.
Only Norwich have scored 2 goals against us this season. That was 1 at Carrow Road and 1 at Turf Moor. Like, they're the only team to score twice against us. Leeds didn't score against us. Sunderland only got the 1 against us.
Yeah. Incredible job, really, that he's done, isn't it, Scott Parker?
Yeah.
I mean, he is good at getting teams up. It's keeping them up that's been his problem, hasn't it? So
yeah, same with Daniel Parker, to be fair. But fingers crossed. Obviously, one manager breaks that hoodoo. But yeah, just looking at the record now, it's 15 goals have conceded this season. The closest to us is Leeds on 29, and I'm not even going to badmouth. That's a good record. Only conceding 29 goals in a season, it is good. Leeds have done well. They'd argue that if it weren't for Melier, they could be closer to ours, and I think they would be. I don't think they'd be beating us, because it's like you said, it's the best defensive record that this league has ever seen so far, unless we concede 3 in our final 2 games. Which
yeah, unlikely.
Unlikely, yeah. Well, that brings me nicely onto QPR. Are you guys on the beach then? Because obviously you can't go up, you can't go down. Just quickly looking at your results, your form hasn't been great since
No.
February, but in your last 4 games, you have won 2, so you've started picking up a little bit. So you probably are on the beach slightly, but then the pressure's off, and maybe that's why you've picked up a couple of results recently. Talk to me about your recent form, mate.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this season we've been hampered by injury, and we've had three different occasions. We've had 10, 11 first team players out, and I mean like proper first team players as well that would get in the team. So that's really hampered us. We've been, I'm not sure which way around to say it, but we've either been consistently inconsistent or inconsistently consistent. I don't know which way. Probably both mean the same thing already, but
Yeah, I think they both mean the same thing. Mate.
Yeah. But we won 1 in our first 15, and we were bottom. I don't know if you remember right at the start of the season.
I do remember that.
1 in 15, and then we won 10, then we won 10 out of our next 16, 17 games. We were on a mad run where we were nearly in the playoffs. We won. Yeah, we were incredible in that run, and then the last 15 games we've won, I think 4 or 5, and we've been a really, really bad run. We lost 6 away games in a row, and then we went into our recent the last 4 games. Well, maybe not the game on Swansea, because that was a bit of a dead run, but the 4 games before then were really instrumental to where our season was going to go. If we'd have not picked up a win in that, we would have been right in this relegation zone and this battle that everyone's in. But we got a couple of wins away at Oxford, which was a really, really good performance, and away at Preston on Good Friday. So we're now, like you say, just sort of, we're safe. We're not going up. We're not going down. A lot of players are out of contract, so we need. You don't really know how those sort of players are going to go, do you? They're going to be playing well to play for a contract here or somewhere else, or are they going to be worried they're not going to get injured? We were really poor against Swansea on Monday, so I don't really know. Again, we've still got lots of injuries as well. Having said that, QPR do really, really well against the better teams. And you'd think the team would be motivated to try and upset the party a little bit with Burnley, try and stop you from winning the league, scoring 2 goals, but who knows, mate? Could go either way.
Yeah, fingers crossed, obviously, it goes that way. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to lose any sleep over not winning the league title if that's the way it is. But, I agree. I think it was 0-0 down at the Turf, wasn't it? Shock.
Well, I mean, we sat back. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
I don't even think we got past the halfway line. We just sat in and sat back. A bit like Gareth Ainsworth did a few seasons ago when you were down. We
lost that game on purpose, mate, by the way, just so you know. We lost that game on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much like then, but yeah, I don't think we had a shot on goal, I don't think, that game.
Well, I mean, a lot of people do call us boring Burnley and stuff because we've had a lot of 0-0s. A lot of the 0-0s that we've had have been because teams have just sat back. But we don't have an out-and-out striker, so it's on the onus and us to break us down and to break teams down, and we've struggled to do that. So first of all, thank you for beating Preston on Good Friday. That's put them bang in trouble. So I really do appreciate that. I think they'll stay up. They've just got enough points. There's too many teams between them. But I also thought Birmingham would stay up towards the last day of the season last season, and all the results went against them, and they went down. But obviously, last time out, you've referenced it already, defeat against Swansea. How did that game though? Then were you sort of like you've referenced already? You were on the beach, weren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think Swansea are really good. They're in really good form. I think they're the most informed team in the league. I think you two are the top 2. So we needed to be on form that game. I think the manager's trying to get a job as well. The players seem to be really motivated. So they were really good actually on the day. And we started really poorly. We had a couple of injuries leading in. We had an injury in the warm up. Varane got injured in the warm up, so that didn't start well. And Cifuentes is trying to get us more consistent. We just can't. We were really good on Friday against Preston, 2-1 away. I mean, we should have been more. You then get into Monday at home against a team that are also on the beach, thinking we can, a few players will need to perform, and we deliver a really, really poor performance. Which is frustrating.
Talk about your season as a whole then, and how QPR fans sort of like feel it's gone, because you've referenced it already. You've been a little bit inconsistent. But you're down in 15th now. Can't go up, can't go down. There was a real moment in the season, as you've mentioned, where it's looking like you could be heading towards League One. So are you guys happy with where you've ended up, or is there still an element of frustration that you've not been able to kick on?
Yeah, it's frustration, mate, really. I mean, there was a time in the middle of the season where we could have been looking at playoffs, but we just couldn't get that run of results consistently. We just go on mad losing runs. We've done it for years, and we just last 5 or 6 years. I don't think any club has ever gone on a 6 or 7 game unbeaten winless run like we do. We do it 3 or 4 times every year, and that happened again this year. Yeah, I mean, there's rumours Cifuentes is not massively happy at the club. They came out yesterday. I don't know if you saw, but he's not happy, and the showdown talks with the CEO, which never really ends well. There's been rumblings all season that they've not really got on. We signed 13 players in the summer, and not one of them had championship experience. They're all abroad or League One or just youngsters who haven't played senior football yet. So, and that was part of the reason why we only won one of our first 15. That was against Luton, and everyone was beating Luton. So, frustration. We really need to try and kick on. 16th is where we finished for the last 4 years, I think, around that.
Oh, really?
Between 16th and 19th. We just can't seem to... We seem to avoid a real relegation battle, but we can't seem to kick on. So I think it'll just be, again, the same this summer, mate. There'll be overhauls, a lot of players out of contract. Players will move on and we'll go again next year. I don't know if Cifuentes will be here or not. There's a lot of jobs available, isn't there? Watford, West Brom. I'm just used to saying Watford, West Brom.
Yeah,
Norwich.
I was just going to crack that joke, mate. Watford job's normally available.
Leicester, coming down, Saints. I mean, there's lots of jobs that are going to be available this summer, and Cifuentes is quite highly thought of. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't around next year, to be honest. Hope he is.
You know what, mate? That was my next question, to be honest, about your manager Cifuentes. What's the feeling like amongst fans with him then? Because I can't. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I forgot he was there. He was very highly thought of in the summer, if I remember rightly. Yep. I think he was even linked to the Burnley job at one point, and I remember saying to myself, "Oh, well, I wouldn't actually mind him. He's decent." Then I seen him linked to other jobs after that. Forgot he were there, but obviously you're referencing the fact that the players probably aren't good enough with the rebuild and stuff. So what's the thoughts with the fans with Cifuentes? Are you still all backing him and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, there was two separate times this season where any other manager would have gone. Right, so Gareth Ainsworth went on a similar run, probably not even as bad at the start of the season last season, and was sacked. And amazingly, the worse we got, the more support he had in regards to the fact that recruitment were getting the blame, that our new signings weren't good enough and stuff like that, and it meant that the heat was sort of on our CEO, who's 26. This is his first big sort of football senior job, and so I mean, he's really highly thought of. I want him to stay. He's a bit stubborn, like a lot of the foreign managers are, in the way they want to play and don't adjust to the game.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, don't adjust to the game that everyone can see watching. Like, why are you still doing that? It's not working. But for whatever reason, they just continue doing it, and he's very much like that. But he's a real likable guy, tactically astute, knows what he's doing, but I've got a feeling, that something might give this summer, unfortunately. But he's really highly thought of, and
he is.
Yeah, I think a lot of clubs will be looking at him and the situation that's going on.
Yeah, like you said, there are a few positions becoming available. The Leeds job might be available soon if he fancies a crack at the PL, which is ridiculous. But we'll get on to sort of like Scott Parker and stuff in a bit. I do want to quickly stay with QPR. We've referenced already that the fact that there's nothing you can do this season. Are you now looking ahead to next season? Well, of course you are. There's nothing else to do. So you're looking ahead to next season. What are your ambitions then for next season? Are you? It's like you've just referenced there. You might lose your gaffer. You might need another rebuild. So you might have another slow start. Then you might end up just wanting to stay up again. But I'm sure now you've got a few more ambitions than just surviving in the Championship.
Well, we need to kick on. I mean, that's Cifuentes' point. I mean, in his interview after the game on Monday, he said that the club need to make some decisions to kick on. We can't just continually keep being on this merry-go-round that we're on. To do that, we need to invest some money in the squad. But to do that, you risk breaking FFP, which we've come close to doing over the last sort of 5 years.
Oh, really?
So you take the gamble. We took the gamble under Warburton, where we were in the playoffs 3 or 4 years ago, and it didn't. We in January we brought in loads of players. Charlie Austin, loads of other players. And it didn't work, and we fell away, and we were sort of 20, 30 million in the red that year, and we've been paying for it ever since. So it's always a gamble. We've done everything. We've changed the board, we've changed our CEO, we've changed recruitment, we've changed our medical, we've done everything you can do to try and turn the tide. But the reality is, in this league, it's so difficult to compete with the teams that are coming down from the Premier League and the teams that are still getting parachute payments for 3 years. It's just so difficult. So we'll see how we go, mate. I think we've got some big players out of contract. Steve Cook, Colback, Morgan Fox, Jimmy Dunn, our best player all year, is out of contract in the summer, which is just crazy and silly. And I don't know how that's managed to happen. We've got loan players going back that have been really good for us this year. And then you've always got the natural players that haven't had a good season that might leave. Elias Chair, there's always rumours that if he goes, a few others as well that have had a good season. So, yeah, this is how the other half live, mate, in this league.
I do apologise. We're in a similar boat now. Obviously, you guys look at us, obviously being in the Prem, coming down, still having Prem money for a few years and parachute payments. We're in the exact same position now, just in the top league. Like it's going to be difficult for us to compete in there and stuff. So I completely can relate to it, just obviously on a bigger scale. You mentioned Jimmy Dunn, then obviously ex-Claret. I always felt disappointed that I didn't see him get a chance at Burnley, but at the time, I think I said this on the last time we spoke, he was behind the likes of James Tarkowski and Ben Mee, Michael Keane, these sort of players. So we were never going to get in ahead of them. And even now, if he was still here, he probably wouldn't be getting ahead of Maxime Esteban, CJ Egan-Riley, when you look at our defensive record, which you referenced, I think, off-air, didn't you, and how good we are defensively. But it's good to see Jimmy doing well. You said there, he's been your best player this season. I presume he's, by that logic, he's doing quite well then, and the fans love him.
Yeah. I mean, centre-back wise, and last time we spoke, I might have referenced it, but he was having a bit of a bad time centre-back wise, bad run of form. And then Cifuentes played him right back, and which is now sort of like a common theme, isn't it, around everywhere, is putting his centre-backs on as full-backs because it gives you a bit of height. And so he's moved to right back, and he hasn't looked back. That was about a year ago, 18 months ago, he moved over to right back, and now he's turned into, I mean, he's known as the Irish Cafu at Loftus Road, but he's been brilliant there. I mean, he's an out ball, so when you cross ball and he can head it, and he's probably he is statistically the best in the air in the league. Which is great when you're in both boxes. He scores, he can defend, so he's been great. But we've stupidly let his contract go down. I think that's because he wasn't doing great 18 months ago, and then he's just suddenly gone good. And now we're at a point now where in January, Sheffield United came close to getting him. They put a bid in for him last day of the window. But I think it was like a stupid 400k with 2 million of add-ons if they'd gone up or if he'd gotten into that, all the sort of stuff that no guarantees. But he'll have half the championship after him, mate. He's had that good a season, and he's that different a right back. You have a right back that goes up and down, but he's one that is solid, can fill in at centre back, and you can move the defence across, which we've done often, is get your left back right up, and then you which is frustrating, mate.
We're in the same boat with CJ Egan-Riley. He's out of contract in the summer, and you would suspect that quite a few Premier League clubs will be after him, maybe some foreign clubs as well. But I like the idea there where you're calling him the Irish Cafu, because obviously we've got Connor Roberts at right back. We call him the Welsh Cafu. Just an easy nickname, isn't it? Just an easy nickname. Who's a good fullback? Yeah, have him. Stick his nationality in front of it. Happy days. But talking about having a centre back at full back again, that's something that we can relate to when we had Bashir Humphreys at left back. Same sort of thing. He can move across, fill in at centre back as and when needed. Sticking with your players, are there any big injuries and suspensions that we need to be aware of ahead of this game?
Well, half our team's out, mate, injured, which is frustrating. Yeah, Koki Sato, who's been great. He dislocated his shoulder on Friday. A week ago, sorry. So he won't be playing. He's had a really good season for us. Sam Field, who's our main centre midfielder, he's out. Jonathan Varane, who's our other centre midfielder, he pulled up over the weekend, so he looks like he's going to be out. Yeah, we've got a couple of strikers out as well, which is frustrating. Elias Chair's back, but he's been out for sort of 3 or 4 months, so I don't know how fit he'll be, but he's one. Paul Smith is suspended, and he's a winger, and he's been doing good at times, so he's out. Yeah, Jake Clark-Salt is out injured as well. So as you can see, mate, but we should still give you a good game. We're competitive. We're decent historically. Apart from Monday, we've been really good at home. We gave Leeds a good game a few weeks ago, 2-2. Sheffield United as well. So we'll definitely be competitive enough, and we'll give you a good game. And if we can turn up, I mean, with QPR, you could easily win 1-0 and lose 3 or 4-0. So we'll see how we go.
Well, fingers crossed. Obviously, we're on the correct side of that scoreline. I do want to ask you about Burnley, obviously promoted to the Premier League again, with a win at Turf against Sheffield United. You have always sort of like referenced already Scott Parker's record isn't great in the Premier League, and obviously I don't want to sit here and start talking about how we are definitely going to get relegated next season. Let's just enjoy the the promotion for a little bit. But it's obviously going to be difficult for Burnley to stay in the Premier League, isn't it, next season? How do you think Burnley and Leeds will fare in the Prem next season?
It's difficult, mate, because the gap seems to be just getting bigger. You look at the last 6 teams that have gone up, have come down.
Obviously we're one of them.
And you're relying on a couple of those teams that are in the league now to have a really bad season, right? So, your Evertons, I mean, you look at the teams that are above the relegation zone now. You've got West Ham, Tottenham, Everton, United. I mean, they're the teams that are above the relegation zone.
The relegation battle when we go to Old Trafford next season. That's what I've been saying.
So that's kind of what you're dealing with, right? When you go up there. I mean, I don't know how much money you've got to spend, but I mean, Ipswich spent 100 million plus, and they still struggled. I mean, you'll be solid, won't you? Scott Parker will have you solid, and if you can get, I always think home form is important. I mean, but all 3 of those teams have got terrible home records. Saints, Ipswich, and who's the other team up there? Southampton.
Oh, you said Southampton, Leicester.
Southampton, Leicester. I mean, Leicester haven't scored a goal, have they, at home for like 8 games? So I mean, I think you're doing all right. It just depends who you bring in the summer. I think you'll be reliant on a couple of those big, Brentford's, Bournemouth, someone just falling off, Palace.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping like a Bournemouth or a Forest, one of these teams that's going to be in Forest, especially going to be in Europe. It's going to be difficult for them to maintain like Tuesday, Saturday, and hopefully that the league form suffers. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, let's just get these last 2 games out of the way first before I start worrying too much about that. I just thought I'd get an opposite fan's opinion on it. For any Burnley fans going down to Loftus Road on the weekend, is there any sort of like away pubs that you'd recommend? Somebody did comment this on the last pre-game show that I did. I don't normally ask this question, but someone commented saying, you should be asking where the away pubs are so we could all go. Any decent away pubs that Burnley fans can hit? Yeah,
you got the Blusher, which you're best going to the underground, the Shepherd's Bush Underground way, down that high street way. If you go down there, and it's still only like a 15-minute walk, but there's tons of bars down there. The further you go, the more away pubs there are, the closer, because there's quite a lot of pubs at QPR right outside. But obviously, there's home fans all in there. So if you go to Shepherd's Bush Station, which again is like a 15-minute walk, and find a pub around there, the Blushers is the well-known one, but there's loads around there, mate.
What about parking? Because I'm driving down.
Parking's fine, mate. So if you just park around on a Saturday in the morning as well, you should be fine. Just around the stadium, mate. There's loads of parking. It's just off-street parking. Monday and Friday is like 3 or 4 hours you get, but on a Saturday, it's Saturday and Sunday are fine. So I've never ever had an issue with parking around QPR, bud. So you just got to drive around. It's all estate, so you just got to drive around. You'll find a space within sort of 10 or 15-minute walk. Yeah.
Right, I'll do that then. Moving on, before I start sort of asking about personal questions and stuff and telling everyone about my reg and things like that. Predictions. What are we thinking for predictions? You've said there you don't know which QPR is going to turn up, and it could all depend on which QPR turn up. You could easily beat us 1-0, or we could easily tank you 4-0. So with all the injuries and things like that, and you being on the beach, I'm hoping for sort of like a Burnley can sort of like take advantage of that. But again, the pressure will be off you and on us. I felt like Watford would be on the beach, and they actually gave us a really good game. Thankfully, we turned it around and won that game. But what are your predictions for the game, please, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be safe and go 1-0 loss, right? That seems like the safest result. But like I mentioned, I mean, yeah, I mean, we should be able to give you a good game, and we will, I think. But don't be surprised if, we're very much on the beach and sort of 2 or 3 nil down within 20 minutes. It's not something I'd heard of. I remember when we played you guys, when you were here last time at home, it was -6 day just after the Euro final. I don't even remember it.
Yeah, that's
And I was supposed to go down, but I was too hanging to go down. Luckily, I didn't, but we were 3 nil down in the first half. So, yeah.
yeah. Me and Martin scored a banging free kick in that one. Yeah, I do remember that one quite well. I'm going to go similar. I think I might go 2-1. But we have been conceding a bit. I say conceding a bit, and I got some stick when I said this on another show. We've been conceding quite a few goals recently for Burnley. And how good we've been recently. Obviously, conceded at Watford, conceded at home against Norwich, conceded against Sheffield United, against Tom Cannon of all people, who hasn't scored a goal yet for Sheffield United. But what I will say is he did quite well. He sorted his feet. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Obviously, we can keep a clean sheet and sort of edge towards the best championship, the best defensive record, not in championship history, but in English football history as well. But, yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 for Burnley because we have been conceding quite a few games recently. We'll wrap it up there, mate. But before we do you want to let everybody know where they can find any QPR content they may want to digest before or after the game at the weekend?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're on all socials. Yeah, I mean, we been established for sort of 5 or 6 years. We actually had Ilias Chair on the pod yesterday. So we chatted through him. So, yeah, through his injuries and stuff like that. He's back. So anyone, what does this like, QPR fans or anyone? Yeah, I mean, just search us on any podcast, in any podcast platform, we'll be there. There's a lot of we've had quite a few of the players this year. So yeah.
Mate, that's absolute scenes. I wish Burnley Football Club would be a little bit nicer to us and allow us to have some players, but any emails that I send do tend to get ignored. But anyway, probably shouldn't have said that live on air, but it is what it is. But anyway, mate, I won't see you next season. I would say good luck for the rest of the season, but you've got nothing to play for. So good luck next season. I won't see you next season, but the chances are, mate, I might be seeing you the season after. But fingers crossed I see you the season after in the Premier League, both of us together.
Yeah, hope so, mate. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, cheers, mate. You too. See you in a bit.
Cheers. Bye.